Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Veterinary Business Podcast, your ultimate resource for developing a successful veterinary practice and career. I'm Dr. Mark Roozen, one of the co-hosts of the Veterinary Business Podcast. On this podcast, we will bring you insights and expertise from the industry-leading doctors, experts, and thought leaders. We cover a wide range of topics, including practice management, marketing strategies, leadership development, HR best practices, and much more. Whether you're a practicing veterinarian, a practice owner, practice manager, or a student studying to be a veterinarian, this podcast is tailored to help you navigate the unique challenges and opportunities in the business of veterinary medicine. Every listener of this podcast is welcome to visit www.veterinarybusinessinstitute.com for additional resources and tools to support your growth. And remember, you can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and other popular podcast platforms. Today, I'm excited to talk to Naren Arulrajah, the founder of Veterinary Business Podcast and CEO of Ekwa Marketing, about how pet parents are choosing a veterinarian in 2023. Let's jump in. Before we get started, Naren, why don't you take a minute to tell us about yourself, who you are? Just tell us your story.
Absolutely. Like you said, my name is Naren Arulrajah. I'm the founder of the Veterinary Business Institute and Ekwa Marketing, which is Ekwa Marketing. Ekwa Marketing, Ekwa Marketing is a full-service, done-for-you digital marketing agency. We have a total of 250 people in our team. So we do soup to nuts, helping practice owners with marketing. So that's SEO, websites, social media. Pretty much we make the phone ring, we track everything, and then we even provide intelligence around how they are doing answering the phone. So we are a full service organic marketing company focused on driving patients through Google and internet. So that's who we are. And as the founder, I guess I have been working as a CEO of Ekwa from 2007. So I guess now I'm going on my 16th year as a CEO of Ekwa Marketing. But I also like to give back, and what we're doing with the Veterinary Business Institute is just us trying to do that. So us trying to find a way to, make a difference in the lives of veterinary practice owners.
Sounds great. Well, let's get started with our conversation today. The topic today is how pet parents choosing a veterinarian in 2023. Today, when pet owners are looking for veterinary service, 92% of the time they start on Google by typing in their specific pet health needs. For example, if they're looking for a veterinarian for dental care or vaccinations for their pet, they go to Google, perform a search. So the veterinary practice owner has to do one of two things: buy Google ads or dominate Google SEO and show up for free. Can you talk more about these two choices?
Absolutely. You are 100% correct. Today, we don't ask our friend for a referral. We use Google to learn about things, to make decisions about what we need and where we are going to go to get what we need. So whether it's, finding a restaurant, whether it's finding a dentist, whether it's finding somebody to take care of your pet, most people, 92% of them, start their research on Google. When they're researching on Google, they're trying to do two things. One is they're trying to educate themselves about the particular topic. For example, vaccinations. I want to learn about pet vaccinations. And, let's say I have a new pet dog and, he's, a few months old, and I want to know what I need to do. So I use Google to research and learn about that. But at the same time, I'm also using Google to decide which veterinary doctor is going to help me with my needs. So I go to Google, I do my research. So when I do my research, you as the practice owner has two choices. One is you show up for SEO, which means you don't pay any money. Rather, you organically show up at the top of Google search results for any and every search term related to veterinary medicine. That's option A. Option B is you pay Google money in terms of Google ads. So every time somebody clicks on it, you're giving Google $2, $3. They charge per click. And the higher you bet, the more chances you're going to show up. So those are your two options. And I think it's nice to understand look at things behind the curtain. So Google is a very profitable company. It's one of the most valued companies in the world. They're worth, I think, $1.5 trillion, if I'm not mistaken. And the way Google makes that money, most of that money is through Google Ads. So last year, Google made $224 billion, $224 billion. Most of us cannot comprehend, $224 billion in revenue in a single year just from Google Ads. So just to put this in context, if Google Ads were a country, Google will be like the 53rd richest country in the world, meaning Google Ads will make more money than 150 other countries in the world. They're that successful. So if I'm Google, I want that money to continue to grow. And if you look at historically how much money Google makes from Google Ads, every single year they made more money than they did in the prior years. They started with $70 million almost 20 years ago, and today, they're making $224 billion. How does Google do that? Google does that by making most of us pay money in terms of Google Ads. So they make SEO or the free traffic really hard for you as the practice owner. So 95% of you have no choice but to give Google ad money. But the better way, in my opinion, is SEO. In other words, when you are typing in any one of these hundreds of search terms related to your need, the pet veterinary needs you might have as a pet owner, you want your practice to show up, because when these pet owners are typing, all kinds of the keywords, you show up for free, you have an unfair advantage. It's like getting into Stanford, getting into the top, veterinary school. The reason is, if you get into the top, veterinary school, then more than likely you're going to have a great education, you're going to have a pretty decent career, you're going to be okay. So same thinking here. So how do I get into the top for free? Now, there is this method to the madness. Google is very transparent. They'll tell you what you need to do to be in the top 5%. But the trick is it's a lot of hard work and it takes a lot of discipline. So if you don't have the expertise and the discipline, and you're not willing to put in the hard work, you're not going to get into the top 5% for free, which means you have to now put money into Google Ads. I, of course, recommend getting into the top 5% for free through SEO, so you don't have to pay for Google Ads. But those are the choices you have as a practice owner.
All right. Well, let's say, for example, I'm Ivy League material. Let's assume that I'm in the top 5% of websites that get 95% of the free traffic from Google. And someone lands on my website from Google. Now what? How much time will they spend on my website? And typically, what do I need to do as a practice owner to get the pet parents to call and book an appointment with my office?
That's a great question. And typically, if they come through Google Ads, meaning they click on an ad, they will spend 15 seconds on your website. If they click on organic results, meaning you showed up for free at the very top without paying for ads, they will spend 90 seconds. So SEO, you get them to spend 90 seconds. Google Ads, you get them to spend 15 seconds. If I divide 90 by 15, there is a 6x difference. So that means you need at least 6 times more people to make up for one SEO person. And the reason for this difference is when I click on an ad, I have doubt that this is the real thing, because nobody goes to Google to read the ads. They go to Google to look for the organic or the free results. So that doubt in the back of our mind makes us look for reasons to leave that website, which is why the average person is spending 15 seconds when they come through ads versus when they come to Google organic, they will spend 90 seconds. Now, let's assume you're dominating, you're in, like you said, Ivy League material, you're doing really well, you're in the top 5% of websites, getting 95% of the free traffic. Let's assume you are in that bucket. Then what should you do? So you have 90 seconds, right? Which is definitely a lot more than 15 seconds. So what can you do with that 90 seconds? Typically, pet parents are asking 3 questions when they are making a decision around which veterinarian to go see. First question is, are you an expert? Like, for example, recently, we had some issues with our pet. He's 10 years old and we didn't know what to do. And eventually we figured out it was Cushing's disease. So let's say I'm interested in Cushing's disease in dogs, right? So I'm starting to research. And you show up as an expert who has specific knowledge and expertise in this particular topic. Or it could be a particular type of vaccine. Whatever I'm researching, step 1 is to establish that you are an expert. How do you do that? I'll get into more of that, but pretty much, perhaps you can educate me about Cushing's disease and when it happens and what types of dogs. So perhaps you could do a video as a practice owner and add it to that page that talks about Cushing's disease in dogs. So when I go to that page, I learn and I see you as the expert because you've taught me something. You are sharing with me your experience and knowledge in a very simple way using a video. So that's number one. How do you position yourself as an expert? There are other ways to position yourself as an expert, like having reviews from other doctors talking about your specific expertise. Winning awards, because a lot of times when you win awards, people think you are an expert. So that's the first question. So you have to very quickly convince me that you are an expert in the topic I'm interested in. The second question I'm asking as a pet parent / buyer of a veterinary service is, can I trust you? Because if I don't trust you, there's a good chance I'm not going to come to you. Why? Because A, it's expensive, and B, pets are important to pet parents, right? They don't want to take a chance with their pets' lives. So if they don't feel like they can trust you, if they don't feel like you're really good at what you do, they don't want to come to you. So we'll touch more about this as to how do you get people to trust you? And last but not least, liking. Because, the word pet parent says it all, right? These are not animals, these are children for most people. So they don't want to take their child to a doctor who they don't like, right? They need to feel comfortable with you. So we'll get into more of how do you get people to, be comfortable with you and how do you get them to like you? So if these three questions are answered, yes, 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 there's a good chance they're calling your office and booking an appointment. Yes, you are an expert. Yes, they trust you. Yes, they like you. And the mistake that a lot of practice owners make is they don't understand this methodology that I'm describing. A, they don't understand they need to first do well on Google or buy Google Ads, because that's where everything starts. And then two, once that's done, they need to do a good job in convincing people to like them, trust them, and see them as an expert. So this is the secret. If you master these two steps and you really focus on it and you don't worry about anything else and just do this, you're going to do it really well. I have seen practices bring in an extra 200 new patients, a month just using this technique. So it's not about how hard you work, it's about how smart you work.
Well, let's dig a little deeper, because you mentioned the three questions that pet parents are trying to answer. And going back to that second question, can I trust you? How do veterinarians establish that trust with these potential clients within just the few seconds of visiting the website?
Great question. So of course, trust is the best way to establish trust is by using an influence principle called social proof. And what that means is I will do something because somebody else, is doing the same thing. Like, for example, many of us have taken Uber, right? And the first thing Uber shows us as soon as we find the ride is how many particular trips has this person taken, how many stars do they have? So 2,700 trips, they have 4.9 stars. We're not going to read 2,900, reviews from all those 2,900 trips. We just notice the 4.9 stars, and we might read one or two reviews at the very top. And within seconds, we start trusting them. We are almost programmed to use these reviews to trust things. So same thing is happening on your website. So the key here is, can you grab reviews specifically from Google and incorporate it inside your website in the relevant pages? So for example, if it's about vaccinations, perhaps highlight some reviews where people talk about vaccinations. Perhaps get a happy parent to write leave an audio or a video testimonial for you, and then highlight those. So when I see those kind of proofs saying that other people just like me trust you, then I'm going to trust you. Another thing you can do with regards to trust is you could have pictures of pets you treat. So when I see a pet that looks like my pet, then I'm going to trust you because I feel like you have specific expertise treating, a pet like mine. So these are little things. So the way to do that is to have a, page called Happy Patients or, Happy Pets or something like that, and take a picture of all kinds of pets you have treated, different breeds, different ages and so forth, and just showcase them. So when I see some pet like mine being treated, then I'm going to feel like you have expertise treating my pet. So those are some ideas to get people to trust you. Remember, the mistake people do is instead of focusing on these three questions, they do lots of other things. They get caught up on the orange design of the website and, certain graphics they wanted and certain things they wanted. All things, nothing to do with these three questions. The ones that win, the ones that have massive success, they don't waste their time on everything else. They just focus on these three things, and like we talked about, how do you get people to trust you? How do you get people to like you? And then, of course, how do you get them to see you as an expert?
And it certainly seems that these three questions are quite important. But let's focus on this last question. Do I like your practice? I mean, what's likability? How important is that to veterinary care? What strategies can veterinary use to make pet owners like their practice during this short online interaction?
That's a great question. We do business with people we like, just the nature of human beings. If you have to choose between a doctor you like and a doctor you don't, you're going to choose the one you like. What does liking mean? Liking means typically we like people for a few reasons. One is we have something in common. We like people who we are similar to. Second reason we like people is the person cares about us, right? A person who's all about me, I'm smart, I have this qualification, I have that qualification, so forth, versus a person who says, hello, my name is John. How can I help you today? I'm Dr. John Smith. How can I help you today? Or I'm glad you're in my website. I would love to show you around. So how do you get people to like you? There's lots of ideas. I'm going to just name a few, especially in the context of you only have a few seconds to do that on the website. So I'm on that page, whatever keyword I typed in, I'm on the right page. When I go to that page, imagine, remember you touched on that video, the educational video. Imagine that video being really short, like 1 minute or less, really down to earth and easy to understand, where there's no jargon, just simple language that someone with zero knowledge about pet care or pet health can understand. The way I try to describe it is somebody with 5th grade education in veterinary medicine, which is no education, no knowledge, can understand. And even the way you say it, if you're relaxed, if you're calm, if you're just easygoing, all those things will get people to like you because they feel like they can talk to you. They feel like they can understand you, as opposed to somebody who doesn't have that powerful video that gets people to feel comfortable with him or her. That other doctor has a disadvantage. He hasn't made me like him. Therefore, if I have to choose between two doctors, one I like and one I don't, I'm going to choose the one I like. Few other things you can do to get people to like you is, on the About the Doctor page, right? Every single pet owner, before they come into your office, will go to the About the Doctor page. Not just include your qualifications, which we all will do, because, that's something we are taught to do from day one, but perhaps humanize yourself. Perhaps you have pets. Perhaps you have a family. Remember I said we like people who are similar to us. So if I see you with a family and I have a family, then I'm going to like you more. If I see you have a couple of pets and I have pets, I'm going to like you more. So humanize yourself. So share pictures. And this doesn't have to just be only for the doctor. It could also help, people like your team. Perhaps they have pets too. Perhaps they could share pictures. Or if they don't have pets at home, maybe they're so fond of the pets they treat. So maybe pets that you treat, share pictures with those pets. So anything that shows people that you have something in common with them, anything that shows people you're easygoing, easy to work with, those are the things that will help people like you. These are just 2 tips. I know there's a science behind it. I'm trying to kind of take the science and help you apply it in a way that's going to, benefit you. So hopefully you can take some of these tips and apply it, sooner rather than later.
Well, Naren, that's some great information. And I understand the importance of the pet owner's journey. So let me be clear. The key takeaway for me is that if I'm building a veterinary website, there are 2 big things I need to do. Dominate Google SEO, that's the first. And this way I can save tens of thousands in Google or other digital ads. And the second is to have a great landing page that convinces pet parents to look to book an appointment with my office. Am I correct?
You are 100% correct. You summarized it really, really well. Yes. Step 1, dominate Google. So you are in that 5% that's getting 95% of the free traffic. That will give you an unfair advantage. Your cost of marketing will be a fraction of the cost of marketing for others, which means you have now more money to invest in your practice or perhaps even, increase your profits. Step 2, once they go to those landing pages, by answering these 3 questions, help people choose you. Remember, when they come through SEO, you have 90 seconds, so you have more time. So use that 90 seconds wisely by just focusing on these 3 questions. And if anyone is interested, we can, share some examples and so forth, and which I'll talk about more later.
So, Naren, you seem to be an expert. I trust you. You're kind of a likable guy. If a veterinarian is interested in assessing how well they're doing in terms of attracting and converting pet parents into new clients, as we've discussed today, is there any specific action they can take?
Absolutely. I think the first action they have to take is to find out where they stand with regards to digital marketing. I gave you a framework at a conceptual level on how to think about marketing, like these 2 steps. Now you need to know, in the context of these 2 steps, are you doing really, really well, meaning you are already getting an A++, or you are not? So one of the things I would recommend is what we call a marketing strategy meeting. It's a $900 value. We spend 6 hours researching your digital marketing prior to the meeting, and then we'll spend 90 minutes with you, kind of sharing our finding. So to dominate Google, there are 6 things you have to really pay attention to. So we'll analyze those 6 things, and we'll tell you, are you getting an A in those 6 things, or B or C in each one of those? So you get a report card almost. And also we'll look at the landing page from the perspective I just shared and saying, are you doing really well, or you are not? And finally, we'll give you a blueprint. So regardless of where you are, how do you, within 12 months, get to the top 5% with regards to Google? So you're getting 95% of the free traffic. And how do you, within 12 months, start converting these people into patients or into appointments by implementing some of these, by answering these 3 questions I just talked about. So that's our gift to you. It's veterinarybusinessinstitute.com/MSM, veterinarybusinessinstitute.com/MSM. I believe you'll put this in the show notes, so you can go there and click on it. It's our gift to you. Just book the meeting, find out where you stand, and whether you work with us or somebody else, you need to know where you stand, and you need to know what you need to do to, get into the top 5%. And of course, get really good at convincing people to book an appointment once they're on those landing pages.
Well, that sounds great. I sure appreciate all this information that you've given me. It really is quite enlightening, so to speak. I also want to take a moment to thank our listeners. We appreciate each and every one of you. We cannot do what we do without you. If you like our podcast, kindly share it with your colleagues and friends on social media. Also, please don't forget to leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your reviews will help other doctors and practice owners find us. Until next time, keep striving for excellence and making a positive impact in the lives of your patients and pet parents. Wishing all of you an amazing week ahead.